Um, Obviously, back to work on Ball State and turning the page, on a game that was hard fought and nice road win, but can't linger on it. Glad to be coming back home, and I think we've had a good response. Obviously, it was a late night, early morning, Saturday, Sunday when we got back. So we've tried to prioritize rest. We're all also in the middle of the season, so dealing with wear and the tear of what's been a physical year so far. So, no major updates in terms on the injury front, but certainly some bumps and bruises that we're needing to take care of here early in the week. We're going to need to play a physical game again this Saturday at home, and we're going to play against an opponent that Mike New is a coach I have a ton of respect for, and great offensive mind that is going to make it challenging on us. Going to find ways to stay on schedule. They're among the best in the country in terms of time of possession. So again, we'll be looking in the mirror that way a little bit, playing against a team that has a similar strategy as we do. They're really good in the red zone in terms of their offense, and so winning for us is building to stops and getting our offense on the field against their defense, and hopefully playing the game that way. If we're on the field too long defensively, it's gonna create pressure on us, and the more possessions we can create for our offense, similar to last week, the better chance we have at the outcome we want. If our possessions are limited, then again, I think it comes down to the narrow margins at the end. So, again, team's focused and working hard and battling through the wear and the tear that is normally sets in this time of year. But I'm proud of the way they've responded and looking forward to Saturday.
How's Miles
He's doing well. He didn't practice today, but he's day to day, just with what is a neck strain. So he. We'll see if we can work him back in before Saturday, but obviously a guy that means a lot to us when he's available, and right now he's listed as questionable, but certainly we're hopeful that he can be with us Saturday playing.
You guys got the 2-minute defensive stop to win the game, which had been in the past a little bit of an issue for you guys. What this time around did you guys do better compared to Georgia State or whatever?
There was again, the Georgia State, situation. They got in rhythm early. Kentucky did too. It's different though. I mean, there was a scramble in there. We've grown and matured in our execution of that package. That's the first part. I thought our rush did a nice job of pinching windows down and kind of forcing them to try to find space in the pocket to get the ball downfield. Our shell was disguised well enough to where, I don't know that he saw it very well. But that Georgia State sequence, again, I credit them a bunch for, the way they performed in that last chunk of time. I thought the quarterback, was under pressure, got rid of the ball, found the soft spots, found the man matchup he wanted. And really, in that sequence, I felt like they out-executed and had a better awareness of where they wanted to attack. And we learned from that. But this time different, and credit to the players and the growth they've had since that game. I think any season's about the evolution of the team. So obviously we want to learn as many lessons as we can from positive results, but sometimes the most painful ones are the most formative. And, that Georgia State result was certainly something we needed to grow from.
Does the plan at quarterback change at all heading into Saturday, especially with, a lot of tough games coming up even after this one in the SEC?
No. We need to put our best group out there and play the way they play to help us get the result we want. And we won't adjust that at all because every game is a big game for us. So independent of what is beyond Saturday and independent of what has happened before Saturday, the focus is Saturday and getting everything we can out of this team in an important game in our season.
In
Well, part of Alabama's success was, they got us in some zone seams that that we need to do a better job with. Not to take anything away from the plays they made, but certainly those were learning moments for us too. That we got to get in reroute positions in those situations, or if we're in cover two, we have to have kind of the middle read player playing with quarterback awareness and not running to the skill side and leaving that backside seam wide open. That's not to say that there's still not space there to be made, but the goal is that you contest the space and make it a contested catch if it's going to be a catch. So independent of that, obviously this is a really good tight end that we're playing against, and to be effective against him, we're going to have to play some zone against these guys because they have a good run game and they get big bodies in there at times, and it's been a part of our formula all year. So those zone windows have to collapse really quickly. They're creative in the way they get them the ball, so we have to be aware of how they use them in the screen game or sometimes the shot game on the perimeter. How they get him involved that way. That is about in zone. That's about the back seven working together to make sure that we're leveraged and top down on him. And then we have to guard him at some point. We're going to have to play some man. So that becomes, winning one-on-one matchups and winning your leverage in man. So you know where your help is and you're funneling the route to your help. And we haven't necessarily performed at a high level in that respect this season. So that's a point of focus this week as we go. The other part of it is just being conscious of matchup on him where we can. This is particularly a third down and a red zone conversation, but you got a really big-bodied target with a huge catch radius. So, when you are playing man, you can't just put anybody on him. You got to be kind of aware of what that matchup is and how you best match up from a skill standpoint, but from a physical standpoint too.
What do you contribute that to specifically on offense?
Well, we coming out of the Missouri game where I think we had 6. We again, and this was kind of a bit of a broken record here, but we just took a step back and said, what are the things that we're celebrating that we're doing well? What do we need to do better? What have we learned from the first part of the season? And that was a lot of the work that went into our bye week was kind of getting those things organized in our mind and in our meeting room so that we can then go train them on the field. And the offensive piece of that was, they have to take ownership over our strategy. Game control offense means, what we said coming out of the Missouri game was like, we need at least 2 first downs in a series to feel like we're playing in our strategy. And so that's about eliminating pre-snap penalties, and we haven't been perfect that way, but we've significantly improved. Staying ahead of the chain, so staying efficient on first and second down, getting into third and manageable. Even against Kentucky, who is a really good third down defense, if you look at the number of 3rd and 7+ that they have to defend, that's part of the reason they are really good. We needed the runs that we had been getting 2 and 3 yards, those needed to become 4 and 5 yard gains for us against Kentucky, and we were able to do that. So it got us into that 3rd and kind of 4 to 6 range where our offense functions at a higher level, and that gives you a chance to extend on 3rd down. The other part of it, as you accumulate snaps, you have chances to just build rhythm, and so I think there's an element there too where there's nothing better for an offense and probably nothing worse for a defense than we're seeing conversions on first and second downs. So avoiding 3rd down becomes a really important way to extend possession of the ball, and I think we've been able to do that as we've possessed the ball and found the rhythm that we need. So there's a lot in terms of the 3 and outs. It's been a focal point. We understand that as a critical part of our strategy as a team, and that's both design and execution. And again, the players kind of taking responsibility over that part of the strategy too, and making it important to them. And we've been able to, move the results to positive there. For us to get where we want to go, we'll have to continue to perform at that level, and that allows us to be competitive in any game we play in.
Is there any lingering concern with Diego Pavia's knee?
No, he was able to practice today, and not to say that he's not sore, but I didn't see any limitations there, and I'm just not worried about it.
It seems like the trend in college football is teams going smaller at center, and you went way bigger, and Castillo seems to be playing well. What has made them successful after this position switch?
Well, a lot of times you can get away with a smaller center because you can get him help where he needs help. Obviously, the athleticism to snap the ball and to get to your combo or get to your block is a part of what makes that position so unique. That position also is a processor, so much funnels through the center. That needs to be a smart football player that can identify fronts and can help get you in protections, and so sometimes you compromise the size because those other things become important factors with how that position plays. With X, obviously in our league, right? I mean, the SEC is a little different because you're going to see some zero noses that are enormous, right? So matching size with size can be really important. If you can't put a nose on your offense, meaning create the space through the middle of the defense that you need, it makes it really hard to get run game going and to be efficient on first and second down. So that was a priority in this. And then with X, he's actually a really skilled player who also is very smart. So he's taken to the change. He really hadn't missed a beat. I've been really proud of the way he's played. So I think the change is about X and Steven Soya understanding how we're going to best position this offensive line, taking ownership over new roles. It's the coaches identifying where the skills are best suited for what we need right now to be effective, and again, the work that goes in to allow for the performance on Saturday. But it's been a good change for us.
Do you guys feel like with Texas coming up that the attention is shifted towards that at all, or do you feel like there's focus on Ball State when it comes to that?
We don't have focus anywhere other than, to be honest with you, the focus first is on us. It's what are the things that we want to pull, the learning, how do we improve? The focus on Sunday was, let's get a little additional rest. Let's get in here. Let's put the game to bed, and then let's introduce the next opponent. The focus today was on being urgent in our process, and we want to get off to a fast start Saturday, so we wanted to get the week off to a fast start. I thought, the room was attentive and prepared, and the practice was fast. I mean, I look at the GPS numbers. I think our work rate was where it needs to be. So again, I'm going into some details, but that's our focus, and this is called process to us. It's just there's no external narratives that influence our process. There's no future schedule that influences it or past schedule. It's just about a focus first on us, and then how we adapt our strategies to best play against the opponent we face this Saturday, which is Ball State. And that's the conversation we had today, and these kids are dialed into it.
How much of a blocker? I mean, Cedric Alexander throughout the season has been a good blocker, but it feels like these last 2-3 weeks he's really come on and has blocked more frequently and been designed to block. Just what have you seen there? And because on Diego's runs, he broke a couple of big blocks there.
Yeah, really proud. Again, these are points of maturity that you see in players. I think a lot of times, we talked about this exact thing on Sunday. In fact, I put up one of the blocks in front of the team. Said he ended up being our offensive player of the game for last week because of the physical nature of his play. I also credited the receivers too, because I think they're also playing very physically on the perimeter. That's a point of growth in our program, and I see that as just the evolution of an identity of the offense, right, and what the standards are of the offense. But if you go back a year ago to the Kentucky game that we played here at home, I don't know that I've been more embarrassed by an effort than the team put on that day, and we were very candid in our assessment of that in our meetings the following day, and very confrontational that way because there's a lot of things as a competitor that you have to be okay with when you compete at this level, but one of those that we'll never accept is anything other than our highest level in effort. And part of that is making physical decisions. And so when you look at Seti, who's a really good running back and also a skilled receiver out of the backfield, the way he kind of lays it on the line physically for us is a tone setter for our offense. And it's a model to say, it doesn't matter whose turn it is with the ball, that if the other 10 guys take that same approach, that we can find explosive plays. And one of those runs in particular was a huge run. The tone of that down was set by Seti late on the line.